Hello everyone, I am Dr. Murali Krishna. I do work as a senior consultant in cardiac anesthesia and critical care at MGM Healthcare in Chennai. In this series of lectures on ECMO, today we'll listen about the ECMO hardware and ECMO physiology. Basically, we are going to know what are the different components of ECMO and how does ECMO work physiologically. So first let us look at the hardware. So this is just a schematic diagram that shows what all can be the components of ECMO. This is looks quite complicated, but in a very simplistic way, you have always the blood that comes out, that is through the tubings. Then you have a pump, which is a basic one, then oxygenator and a return. Along with this, you do have a lot of other gadgets which are attached as a part of this. So let's look at one by one. Let us start with the oxygenator. Oxygenator is the most important part of the ECMO. This works as the artificial lung. And this is where the gas exchange do happen. The oxygen gets added to the blood and the carbon dioxide gets out of the blood in the oxygenator. So what are your expectations? What are the ideal types ideal characteristics that you want when you talk about an oxygenator? These are all what you want an oxygenator to be or wants it to do. One, you want it to do in a very efficient gas exchange, get the CO2 out and add oxygen there. And you want it to have a very minimum surface area, because the more the surface area, the more the inflammation, the more the complement activation there. So you want a minimum surface area, you want a minimum priming volume. You don't want to add any additional volume burden or any additional transfusions for that. And as the blood traverses to that, please note that the narrowest part or whatever this one in the entire ECMO circuit where the resistance will be highest is the oxygenator. So there's always a trauma to the blood elements as the blood passes through this oxygenator. So you want that trauma to be minimal to the blood elements when the blood passes through that. And that flow to be very smooth and has a very less resistance across the oxygenator. And lastly, you want it to do a heat exchange, because the ECMO, a lot of the circuit is outside the body, and when blood keeps circulating outside the body, you see that there is always a drop in temperature, which becomes very significant in all of these critical patients. So you want it to do a heat exchange also. There are three different types of oxygenators that are available or that were there. One, a hollow fiber or a polymethylpentene, PMP is what we call it. That's the most commonly used or available one now. Then you have microporous or polypropylene one, or third, a silicone one. The commonly used ECMO oxygenators now are the PMP. The historical ones, or which were used before, are the silicone ones. So what is a hollow fiber or a PMP one? This is the hollow fiber or a PMP oxygenator there. So what are its characteristics? It is very good at gas exchange. It does a very good gas exchange, and the resistance to flow across this is relatively less. As you see, the priming volume, the amount of volume of blood or any liquid required to fill it is relatively less. And usually one size fits for all, in the sense when you say it's an adult oxygenator, for a broad weight category, let us say 30-35 kilo patient, even up to 90-100 kilos, one single size fits for all. Just to give an example, these are the different brands of oxygenators that are available there. So this is the pre-oxygenator blood. You see that is bright, dark there. And as it exits the oxygenator, you see that the blood is bright there. That's the pre-oxygenator, that's the darker blood. Gas exchange happened there, that's the post-oxygenator, that's the brighter blood. That's the first step of troubleshooting. Generally, we should know the pre should be dark, post should be bright. Then on the top, you have the oxygen source. That green tubing is the oxygen source. That comes from wherever you are giving the oxygen, whether this is the blender or whether the gas cylinder or directly wall mount. From wherever it is, that is oxygen that gets connected to the oxygenator there. On the below, those two are, that one and the one next to it are basically for the water. They are for the heat exchange. The water at a controlled temperature perfuse inside, thereby making the blood that is going out, you'll be able to control the temperature of the blood. So one, this is the tubing for the blood. Pre, post, you have on the top, you saw that green one, that's oxygen or air, whatever we want to give that. The one below is for the heat exchange to happen. So there are the tubings for the water to circulate inside to regulate the temperature. They are connected to the hemodome. This is the hemodome of the ECMO.